recording. Gonna play the bumper in just a moment.
Right. Yes, Springfield Central. All right, hello and welcome to another Plus One High School Sports segment with Joey from The Item is here. We got week one out the way. Some teams played. Some teams are starting their week one this week, but it was football in Massachusetts. Nothing like it. And it was quite the first week throughout the state. There was a lot of great performances statewide.
Happy to be back. It was a little colder than I thought on Friday night, but we were back, and some of our teams, impressed and picked up early season victories, while others
Go back to the drawing board.
just some holes to fill.
Yeah, speaking of cold, Thursday night, it was, I felt it Thursday night. It was a little nippy out there on Thursday, but, oh man. One thing I keep forgetting is about the time changes, like the games changes, I should say. Because they was get some games originally supposed to be 7 o'clock. It got changed like last minute or so to 6 o'clock, and then some games were from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. I'm like, man, which is why I showed up to the St. John's prep game after the first touchdown was scored already. I got there, it was 7-0, and I'm like, oh well.
Because I saw you at the classical game, and I said, "What are you doing here if you're covering the prep?"
Listen, man, I would have showed up at halftime if you didn't tell me, but you gotta that's something to adjust to. But we'll kick it off with at Manning Friday. Lynn Classical kicked off this season. It was one of those. Young team just going up against a well-oiled machine, I should say, and I have no idea what they're feeding those kids in your neck of the woods, but those are some big boys. Those are some big boys in the front.
Oh, from North Attleboro High?
Yeah.
Clearly they're not feeding it to me. But, when you talk about season openers, they're all a little different.
Right.
And North Attleboro, we talked about it in our week one preview. They're ground and pound. They put their head down. They like to really play a physical brand of football. And that's what classical coach Brian Vaughn applauded them for after the game.
Yeah.
And if I have to applaud someone, it would definitely be Tyron Hound, running back for the Rams. Really fought for extra yardage. He had a long burst down the left sideline for a long touchdown, and he was really impressive.
Yeah, and that's the thing with classical. It's just so many guys, they're so young. It's like so inexperienced in games like that. So it was kind of like they got hit by the wave. So it was kind of like, ooh, man, it's one of those things. One of those things where you're just like, man, we didn't see this coming, but you just have to take it. But they did have some moments in there that they could build from in that game. From what I saw from the film I was watching, I mean, you talked about Tyron, Jabin Pierre, the receiver. He had some moments in that game. He made some good catches. They had moments where they got positive yardage and they moved the ball the way Coach Vaughn wants them to move the ball and wants them to play. So there was some positives they could take from that game as far as offensively. But yeah, it was just one of those days at the office for them.
Yeah, Vaughn and company, definitely. That's what he told me. He's going to learn. And North Attleboro returned 9 of its 11 defensive starters. That can't be overlooked. That's a good unit to bring back, and just really big and physical, and the ability to extend for big plays.
Right.
North Attleboro had 42-yard, 58-yard, stuff like that. So a hard team to beat.
I think their first run play went for like 40 yards or something like that, all the way down to the 2. And when you look at it, it was just like you see the gaping holes that the lineman was giving to the running backs. It was just like big gaps, and that's just a credit to their offensive philosophy and their line coach, to be exact on that one. But yeah, Classical will learn from that. But I still got high hopes for them. I think there's talent there. It's just they need the experience. A lot of those guys, they need the game experience.
Yes, and they've got that in New Bedford Saturday at home, 3 o'clock. So I expect the same energy. Because Classical, they came out, in warm-ups, they looked excited. They ran out, they looked excited, and they just ran into that big red wall that was North Attleboro. But I think against a team that's not so experienced and not so physical,
Yeah.
I believe Classical picks up multiple wins this season, and Vaughn and company do well.
Yeah, nowhere to go but to look up after games. Like some of those are the type of games sometimes you just can be like, we might have to bury this film, but it's week 1, so you kind of have to watch the film just for the next one. We had a tight one down in Swampscott, between the Spartans and the Big Blue, which came down to just an extra point. And Maxwell Parent was able to kick the extra point, but it also was a physical defensive football game for the most part.
And it's, football is a game that really comes down to a few plays, I think, and just penalties, turnovers, and injury to Swampscott's kicker, which didn't help in that situation, right?
Okay. Something I didn't know.
Yeah, Mark Aboyan with the item covered that game, and he was telling me that there were even the touchdown celebrations were a little over the top in that game, I guess. It was a passionate game that came down to a few plays between two teams that are pretty close location-wise. So St. Mary's escaped.
Yeah, sometimes it don't always have to be pretty, but a win's a win. For the Spartans, a good non-conference win at best too. That's a good non-league win for them, especially those two teams played last year, like towards the end of the season. I think Swampscott got the win. But offensively for the Spartans, the running back Dimitri, over 126 yards on 21 carries. That's what you're gonna get from St. Mary's. It's gonna be physical running the ball. That offensive line play is always gonna be key, but that running attack, now you got two running backs that they could utilize between him and Maxwell.
Absolutely. I wish our fantasy teams were like that. But
Yeah, I didn't play fantasy this year, man.
you didn't play fantasy?
No, I'm not playing this year. I took a year off for my mental health.
Yeah, when you have Maxwell Parent, and then you have other skill players like Tyler Guy and company and Dimitri, the transfer student, you're going to be a tough team to take down. I look forward in a few weeks when Fenwick and St. Mary's play each other. I think that's a lot more of a
That Thanksgiving game?
Yeah.
It's Thanksgiving, right?
Oh, right.
It's Thanksgiving,
And I think
yeah.
that's a lot more of a competitive game than it was last year. Fenwick won easily. But when it comes to St. Mary's, Coach Sean Driscoll, he said there were things to improve on, but he was happy. So
As long as he comes out of a game with his guys healthy and gets the win and his guys are healthy, I think he'll be happy, because we know last year it was kind of like an obstacle for them with the injuries, because sometimes it was just like every game a key player would get hurt and miss some time. And I don't expect them to score 13 points in most of their games. I expect more points from them as we move forward, but I think close games like that are good for anybody, just to learning how to win those tight games on the road.
Yeah, in enemy territory. So Black Sidge Field, not always an easy place to play.
Yeah.
So a win is a win for the Spartans, I think.
Yeah, definitely. All right. And probably the biggest, I was so happy, the biggest game, the biggest one of Friday was Lynn English. Tyler McDonald gets his first head coach victory on the road, and it went just about as he planned it to go. Solid running game, sustained offense, defense, creating turnovers. Defense played really well. They jumped out to the 14-0 lead, and they pretty much controlled the game from there on.
I tell you what, there was no one happier than that program, that team that night. I was at a home game for Lynn Classical. Right. So I called Coach McDonald just to talk about the game and to get some information from him. And they were on the bus ride home. They were really happy. And he said he felt good. That's his first win as a varsity coach in his first game. Yeah. And when I asked him what was the recipe, he said a little bit of everything. They had one rusher for 120 yards, and then Shane Knowlton-Samard caught a touchdown. Yeah. They had 2 interceptions.
I think so. I mean, even Limbert Thomas, he ran for a touchdown as well. Yeah, it was kind of like what I saw. So from what I saw from their like last did joint practice with Kip the last 15 when they went offense defense. I saw the idea of what he wanted his offense to look like, or like the philosophy of the offense, and I think it came together in that game. And the guys were playing with confidence. They played with confidence the whole game. I mean, we look back at a year from a year ago when Lawrence came here. It was like a tale of two different teams, a tale of two stories. As far as performance-wise, you get shut out last year, and then you go over there, you do that. It just got to feel good for those guys.
27-0 loss last year to a 28-14 win this year against the same program. They got to be feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
And Lawrence is tough, gritty. That's what Coach McDonald talked about. And 1-0 heading into Swampscott Friday night. That's a great matchup. English is definitely a different program.
Yeah, they're playing for the Blydell Cup. I mean, we'll transition to week 2. They're playing for the Blydell Cup. You know, this is a rivalry between English and the Swampscott. They play every year. A lot of people have been a part of it. You know, I was part of this game. They're coming here. Last year's game, it was, you know, the scoreboard might not have indicated it, but it was, English played really well that game. It was just mistakes that cost them that game. They moved the ball really well. They had multiple opportunities to score in that game. It's just like it was the little things that hampered them from really stealing a win last year. So now you got this momentum coming into this game for Friday. Your home opener too. I think those guys we're gonna see them try to go to another level.
For me, I think week 2 between Swampscott and English, I think it's a lot about discipline, because when you think of the emotions, English just had a huge win. They're going to be riding high off momentum, and rightfully so. Mm-hmm. Can they keep that in control? And then also Swampscott might be a little frustrated with that single-digit loss the week before. So can they keep themselves under control? I believe both coaches will keep their players ready to go. Two great coaches. Yeah. But I'm excited. It's a toss-up game. Yeah. Our predictions come out in the paper. They're going to be close.
They're going to be close? They come out Thursday? Or
tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay.
Tech plays Thursday.
Oh, yeah, all right. We'll look at that. And, yeah, I got to see this game in person, so I will be there because I want to see how they look. Speaking of Lynn Tech, they are on the road. They will be playing Malden. I believe they played Malden last year, and I believe they won that game. And it was a fourth quarter rally for the Tigers in that game. They was down, and a couple big plays in the fourth quarter, and they were able to escape with the win at home last year. Now they're going to Malden. They lost some guys, but they got some guys coming back. Their quarterback is back. You know, I'm interested to see their offense, because losing a guy like Cesar Reyes, I believe they lost. There was a couple other players they lost, whose names I'm forgetting right now, my bad. But Caesar, I just see him all the time, so I remember. He was a big play guy for them. And, I want to see who's gonna step up at the skill position for the Tigers and be the big play guy.
Yeah, you talked about Jadiel. Jadiel Ortega, the quarterback for Lynn Tech. Really young, really good, and excited to watch him. Enemy territory will be a little tricky for week 1, and Tech has a lot of road games.
We'll talk. Yeah, we can talk about that later. But yeah,
my goodness, they don't come home for a month and a half.
Yeah.
But overall, Coach Runner kind of breaking things down in the preseason. He told me we're a running team. Everybody knows we're a running team, but he dared other teams to, watch out for the pass game too. Mm-hmm. I think it can be a dual threat team, so I'm excited for Tech.
Yeah, Tech's offense is very interesting. Like it's almost like the wing T. Like you know what's coming. You know what's coming. It's just a matter of you have to stop it. Like, so those simple offenses, it may look simple, but it's kind of like everybody knows what's coming. But can you stop it? That's the thing.
And then you got the passing though, because I remember last year I covered a game, and Ortega threw a dime down the left sideline. I looked at the roster because this was early.
Yeah.
I was like 8th grade.
Right.
So he's, I'm excited to see the leaps that he takes in his game.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and ain't no better way to start a season off with just a good road game, playing against a non-league team. So we'll see what that does for them. And then probably game of the week. This is the third meeting of this kind of like new rivalry between Kip and St. Mary's. St. Mary's have won the first two. Year one, it was all St. Mary's in year one. Last year, it literally came down to a foot accidentally kicking the ball out of the defender's hand at the goal, defender's hands at the goal line, which led to like a 22-21 victory for the Spartans. But new look Panthers with with their new quarterback. Graduated those seniors, but they got a lot of new skill players coming back. But Coach Rabbit says he has his line back, everyone on his offensive and defensive line back, which is a good thing for his young quarterback.
Yeah. Offensive lines, I think, are going to play a huge role in this game. Mm-hmm. Like you just mentioned, the Kip part of that. And then Driscoll has said his team's success will ride and die with the offensive line. Yeah. That's what he said in the preseason. So Kip and St. Mary's, like you said, really an up-and-coming rivalry in the city that both coaches enjoy. They love the competition, the physicality. It's healthy, right? So 4:30 start? 4:30
start. It's kicks off the doubleheader at Manning Field on Friday. That's a really early start. I mean, I think in the past it was like 5 o'clock, but I mean, I guess time purposes or so, but they could move it up to 5 just a little bit.
Think so?
No.
I like it earlier.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think the kids at Kip get out of school at like 3.
Oh, true. Hey, football earlier in the day is good with me.
I like it early in the day on Saturdays. Right. Fridays, I like the later games on Fridays.
Yeah, true.
You get those out the way. Well, except when you're on deadline. So I gotta the folks on that got the deadlines. I gotta understand why they want those earlier games. But you'll be at Manning.
I'll be at Manning.
For both games or one?
I'll be at the first game. Mark will be at the second game.
Okay, that's fine. I'll be at both games. I'll be there for both of those games. I told the folks at New England's Football Journal I'm gonna be in Lynn on Friday, so don't send me nowhere unless you want me to cover these games for you. But,
great doubleheader.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Yeah. There's a lot of excitement going on this week, just in general for football. I got my players of the week coming up at some point today. Y'all gonna see it on my Instagram page. I'm gonna pull it out.
I got my team of the week. I have a feeling it's probably the same as your team of the week.
The team of the week. Team of the week for me is English. It's English for me. That's the team of the week for me. But yeah, I got the players of the week for Lynn, and then I got the player of the week just throughout the state. So make sure you check those out. And predictions are up tomorrow.
Predictions are out in Thursday's paper. Check out the Daily Item and also itemlive.com. We got some field hockey, soccer, volleyball coverage before Friday. Friday's mostly football. Yeah. And then weekend coverage as well.
And also, I forgot the city championships from soccer. St. Mary's girls and boys both took home the city championships in soccer.
Yes.
I heard it was some wild games a couple days before the city championships between Tech and was it Tech and Classical that had the wild game?
Yeah. Yep. That was in penalties, right? And I like that tournament a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, and they get to experience kind of some inner city, rivalry.
Right.
And St. Mary's, they've got some good soccer programs. Yeah. They really do. Yeah. And that's not to say the other teams don't. It's just I thought the skill was on display Saturday. I think the boys won. The boys scored 3 goals. The girls scored 5 in their championship, so that's tough.
Yeah, congratulations to them. And then Lynn Classical girls won the volleyball.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a volleyball city tournament. Was this an occurring thing, or is this the?
Last year, St. Mary's won kind of a heartbreaker over Classical. If you're a Ram fan, but Classical avenged itself, and the Rams have won 3 of the last 4 of those.
Okay.
I believe.
I should be more in tune with this. I did not know there was a city tournament for volleyball, but I should be more in tune with that. I should know that, but I mean, congratulations to all the players that won the city championships. And we'll be back again next week. Well, check us out. If you see us on Friday, we'll be up in the booth before we hit the field. But yeah, say hi, son. Guys, watching +1. We're out of here.